They won't say the words, they might not even realize it themselves. But if you look closely, the truth is written in their behavior. Falling in love isn't loud. It's quiet, subtle, and often completely hidden. Most people miss the signs until it's too late. But today, you won't. In this video, we're uncovering 8 scientifically backed, rarely discussed behaviors that only appear when someone is falling deeply in love with you. These aren't cliches. They're psychological clues buried in everyday moments. By the end, you'll see the people around you and maybe even yourself differently. Welcome to Psychofacts, where the mind meets emotion. Make sure to hit that subscribe button and stay with us till the end, because what you're about to learn might just change the way you understand love. Before we talk about the deeper, more intense signs of love, let's start with something so subtle. Most people miss it entirely. Mirroring. Have you ever noticed someone start to use the same phrases you do, or adjust their posture to match yours without even thinking? That's not coincidence. That's emotional alignment. Psychologists call it limbic synchrony, when someone's subconscious starts to mirror the person they feel deeply connected to. It's their brain's way of saying, I'm with you, I feel what you feel. They may tilt their head when you do sip their drink, just after you sip yours, or laugh in the same rhythm. And here's the fascinating part. It's completely unintentional. They're not trying to impress you. Their nervous system is responding to emotional closeness. It's like a hidden language. Only the emotionally attuned can detect. And once you start seeing it, you'll notice it everywhere. Before we talk about the emotional shifts that happen when someone's heart is fully engaged, let's pause on a behavior that often slips under the radar. How much they remember, not the big stuff, not your birthday or your favorite color. I'm talking about the things you barely remember saying yourself, like how you casually mentioned you loved cinnamon tea, and days later they show up with your exact brand, or that story you told once, half laughing, half venting, about a bad teacher in 5th grade, and weeks later they reference it like it mattered. This isn't about a good memory, it's about what the brain chooses to prioritize. And when someone is falling in love, the brain zooms in on what you care about, because that becomes what they care about. It's a quiet kind of devotion, one that reveals itself not in grand gestures, but in the moments you forgot you even shared. Before we talk about the quiet protectiveness that starts to surface when feelings grow deeper, let's look at a reaction. Most people misinterpret nervousness. You might think they're just shy. Maybe they stumble over words, tap their fingers, adjust their clothes a little too often, or glance away when you make eye contact. But here's what's really happening. Their emotions are in conflict. Excitement is colliding with vulnerability. The heart is racing and the brain hasn't caught up yet when someone's falling in love. Being around you doesn't always make them feel calm. It makes them feel everything. And sometimes that emotional overload leaks out through tiny unconscious behaviors. It's not fear of you, it's fear of being seen by you, of saying too much or not enough, and that tension, that magnetic discomfort. It's often the truest sign that something deeper is unfolding beneath the surface. Before we talk about how someone might defend you, even when you're not around, let's take a closer look at something that seems casual on the surface. How they spend their time, watch closely. They used to say they were too busy, but now somehow there's always a window for you. Plans shift, texts come quicker, they offer to help when you haven't asked, and even their routines. The things they once guarded start to bend just slightly to fit you in. But here's the twist. They're not doing it consciously. They're not tallying favors or performing devotion. It just feels right to make space for you, because emotionally, you've become a central part of their inner world. And when that shift happens, when someone starts reorganizing their life around your presence, it speaks volumes without a single word. Before we talk about the subtle pull toward physical closeness, Let's explore a sign that happens when you're not even in the room. It starts quietly. Someone makes a joke at your expense, a backhanded comment, a subtle jab, and suddenly they stiffen, change the subject, or speak up. Not loudly, but firmly, because in their eyes, you're not someone to ridicule. You're someone to protect. This kind of loyalty isn't performative. They're not defending you to impress you because you're not there. They're doing it because their emotions are invested, and that connection doesn't switch off when you're out of sight. And sometimes you won't even hear about it from them. You'll hear it from someone else, and that's how, because love doesn't always look like flowers or words. It often looks like quiet resistance in conversations you were never part of. Before we talk about emotional vulnerability and what it reveals, let's look at something more instinctual, the quiet pull of physical closeness. They won't announce it, but you'll feel it in the inches they close without realizing. They sit just a little closer than necessary. Their knees brush yours under the table, or they lean in when they speak, like the space between you needs to shrink. It's not always romantic. Sometimes it's a light touch on your arm during a laugh or standing beside you in a group. Even when there's room elsewhere, these aren't accidents. They're emotional signals, the body's way of reaching out before the mind catches up. Because when someone's falling in love, distance feels unnatural. Even the smallest contact becomes a kind of reassurance, a wordless message that says, I feel safe with you. Before we talk about the invisible energy shift that happens when you walk into the room, let's stop and notice what happens when someone begins to peel back their armor. They don't do it all at once. It starts with something small, an offhand comment about a childhood fear, a moment of hesitation before they mention someone who hurt them, a truth they've never really said out loud. And it's not for attention. It's not a plea for comfort or sympathy. It's the result of emotional gravity. Because when someone is falling in love, there's a deep desire to be seen, not just liked, to be understood, not just admired. They reveal their scars, not to impress you, but to see if you'll still choose them, when you know the parts they usually hide. And in that quiet offering of truth, something shifts between you, before we talk about what all of these signs truly mean when they begin to overlap. Let's tune into something that can't be faked. Their energy, pay close attention, even if they're drained, worn out, or distracted. When you enter the room, something shifts. Their posture straightens, their eyes brighten, their voice softens without effort. It's not about excitement. It's something quieter, more grounded, like their system just recognized a safe place, like the version of themselves they most only shows up when you do. You'll notice it in how they listen, in how their laughter sounds different with you, in the silence that no longer feels empty. Because when someone's falling deeply in love, their entire presence responds to yours. Not just their words or their habits, but their emotional frequency adjusts without them even noticing. So there, you have it. 8 subtle yet powerful signs that someone's heart is quietly but deeply invested in you. These aren't the flashy declarations of love we're often fed, but the quiet, unspoken signals that reveal true emotional depth. Remember, love doesn't always scream. Sometimes it whispers in the smallest gestures, the most subtle. And once you recognize these signs, you'll see love in an entirely new way. What about you? Did you notice any of these behaviors in someone around you, or maybe even in yourself? Let us know in the comments, and if you found this insight valuable, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to Psychofacts for more fascinating dives into the human mind, because when it comes to understanding love, the truth is often found in the quietest moments.